What's up? So you rocking the jersey?
You see me representing? You see I'm representing out here in these streets? How you doing?
Yeah. What's up?
I'm good. Like I finally just got in the house. I was like, let me sit down somewhere. What's up, Terrell? Look at Tio hopping in. How you doing, Tio? So we're gonna have a conversation about everything. So first, let's do an introduction. I am Connie S. Falls, the S is for systems. I create operational systems for creative entrepreneurs. That's your policies, processes, procedures. I've been business consulting and coaching for the last 13 years, which has allowed me to help hundreds of small businesses create generational wealth for their family. Also created the Business and BS live podcast, so that way I can introduce you to my circle of amazing, super dope people. So that way you guys have access to some of the dope conversations that we're having that you may not be privy to, especially if you don't have super dope friends like I do, or are surrounded by regular entrepreneurs that are doing super dope stuff out here. So this past week, I wanted to really emphasize Black men, because we all know every time you turn on the TV right now, it's a lot of tragedy, it's a lot of pain, and I wanted you guys to be able to see some really, really great Black men that are also Black fathers and are also Black husbands, and that actually really like their wives. I think that part is kind of important too, right? As a sidebar. But I think that it's just great to be able to see this, especially with everything that's going on. We need to be able to see some light at the end of the tunnel and feel like there are positive influences that are happening out here in our community. So with all of that said, I have one of my favorite people on earth here, Mr. Keon Davis. How you doing, Keon?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. How you doing, Connie? Man, I love you to death, girl. You know
that. We're so lame. So first, I want you to give an introduction of who you are, and then we'll slide right into the interview.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm Keon Davis. I'm the owner and operator of a company called Smooth and Groove. We've been in business for about 8 years, and I've done everything that I feel like a person can possibly do, good and bad, when it comes to business, right? So I was fortunate enough to win a bunch of elevator pitch competitions. I was involved with some of the biggest brands in the world, as far as like Wild 'N Out, Tyler Perry, Target. I had a store inside Walmart. I had a contract at Auburn University. I had 6 or 7 stores open up at one time. And at that point in time, I lost everything, right? And so at that point, it was like, well, I got to make a decision whether I change and do something else, or do I just relocate and hit the reset button, right? So I ended up hitting the reset button, moved to Atlanta about 2 years ago, and I've been able to restart, regenerate funds, and just continue to build. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm a friend. I'm just the same guy I was growing up, man, but I learned a lot, I've experienced a lot, and I'm just here to help as many people as possible. So that's me in a nutshell.
So let's start. Let's start off where how most conversations where people are like, well, I'm this way because of how I was raised. Let's talk about how you were raised, where you're from, and what was your childhood like?
Oh man, it was at the time it was fantastic, right? Because I knew nothing else. My mom had me at 15. My mom had me at 15. My mom is super dope, right? She had me at 15, dropped out of school, went back to school, took junior and senior classes, and graduated on time, right? While she took care of me. You know what I mean? So like growing up with that, like you kind of have no choice but to accomplish something. You know what I mean? And so from there, it was, it was the typical household. Grew up without my father. Grandfather was in the picture. I was the oldest of 4 boys. And I took on that fatherhood role early, right? And so within doing that, I find myself that was always willing to attach to men that I thought was living a life that I wanted. You know what I mean? And so at the time, I didn't know any difference. If you tell me, hey, look, the way I got successful, I ran through this brick wall 3 times and I was successful after that. Then you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go full steam into this brick wall, right? If that's what it takes. That's what I'm going to do. And so growing up, that was who I was. I had people, I would tell people that my father was the dude off Boys to Men, because I had glasses and big lips and I kind of looked like him. You know what I mean? So, it was all of that stuff. But I mean, growing up, man, I learned how to hustle. I was around all the dope guys. I was around all the drug dealers. It was 3 things that we knew, right? It was either be an athlete, sell dope, or, be a rapper, and so I grew up in that environment. But at the time, I was a really, really good athlete. And so those guys, and my mom at the time, she was like the kingpin, right? People don't know that. My mom was like that girl. And
Right.
so most of the people in the hood respected my mom, and they knew that I was her son. And my mom would fight, and she didn't play about her kids, right? And so people was like, look, man, you got an opportunity to make it out. You not coming over here. I mean, I seen guys get jumped in gangs. I seen shootout. Like I've seen all that stuff firsthand. You know what I mean? But they protected me from it because they seen that I had potential. You know what I mean? And so I want to kind of put that out. Like, yeah, I look like this. You know what I mean? But people really don't know the backstory. People don't really know what I have inside of me, what I've seen, what I've done, what I've experienced. Like I'm that same person that was one decision away from either being locked up or killed, right? Like that was my background. That's what I grew up in, and the thing is that growing up without your father, it does something to you, right? Whether it's male, female, whatever, right? It does something to you. And I think at one point, what really transitioned me was this time that it was the Black Expo, right? We all had a Black Expo and the big car, the big thing back at home. And at the time, we had this 3-on-3 tournament, and we had a 2-on-2 father-son tournament, right? And this was like a defining moment in my life, the first time. And so I was like one of the best athletes in my hometown, hands down, right? But I never could play in this 2-on-2 father-son tournament. And so every year I would go to it. I would probably like help out, be the ball boy, or be the referee or something like this. But this particular year, I think I was like 12, maybe 12, 13. And I was just sitting on the fence, right? And I was watching my homeboy and his dad play on one end, my other partner and his dad play on the other end. And I just started bawling, crying, right? Like it hurt. Like it still to this day, it hurts. But I started bawling, crying, and I ran home, right? I ran probably 3 or 4 miles home, full speed, like crying my eyes out. And I finally got home, went upstairs, dug my face in the pillow, cried myself to sleep, right? And when I woke up, something happened, right? I don't know what happened while I was asleep. I don't know what transpired. But at that time, what happened was when I woke up, I was like, you know what? I will never feel like this again, right? I will never. I'm going to be so much better than everybody that has their father, right? And I'm going to be so good, I'm going to make my father come to me. You know what I mean? So at the time, you look at all these athletes that go to the league without their fathers, and then all of a sudden their dad come back in their life, right? It's right. So it's like I'm here, and so in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna push myself to a limit that nobody can push me to, right? And I'm gonna get so good that I'm gonna make my father come to me. I'm not gonna search for him anymore. I'm gonna make him come to me, right? And that's the chip that I had on my shoulder. You know what I mean? Growing up from 12 years old all the way up until like my father passed, I had that chip on my shoulder. You know what I mean? And so it was like that's what fueled me. That's what drove me. That's what pushed me to outwork everybody. You know what I mean? And so that was the childhood that I had growing up, and then just kind of fast forward it, that same mentality is what I took to my whole entire life. Yep.
So, woo. So your story it's familiar to many, especially if you guys have been watching the lives we've done this week. That story is so prevalent in our community,
Right.
especially when it comes to fathers, and we'll talk about your role as a father soon. So you had a chance to go to college, and in that college experience, because that's, sometimes that's where you decide which path you're going to go.
Right.
What was your college experience where you were like, you know what? Okay, I could be, back at our day, they're like, you can be a doctor, a lawyer, a
Right.
police officer, a teacher. So what triggered you when you were in high school or in college where you were like, I'm starting to go this path?
So for me, I always wanted to be in the sports, right? So I was going to go toward like sports medicine, and so I ended up going to Tuskegee. It's a crazy story, but I had a scholarship to go to Louisville, right? So I mean, Louisville treated me like a rock star. When I went up there, they had my jersey up, they had my highlights on the big screen. Like, I mean, they treated me like a rock star. And so my mom was like, look, don't commit nowhere. This is your first visit. And I was like, Mom, but I love it here. You know what I
This me.
mean? Yeah, like I like it, Mom. They treat me like a rock star, right? And so long story short, come signing day, they don't show up, right? So I verbally committed. They don't show up. So what ended up happening was my high school coach pretty much sold me to one of his friends that was at like a D3 school or something like that. And it was like, well, like imagine I'm in a small town. I'm from Anderson, Indiana, right? I'm the first to go to college in my family. I'm the first to be big time D1 in the town. Like I got a billboard. When you go to my hometown, I had a billboard. Like as soon as you come in, to say "Welcome to Anderson" with my face on it. You know what I mean? Like I was that guy. And so, and so during this time, I got the news, the newspaper. Everybody's here for this huge signing day, right? Got the hat on the table, and nobody shows up. You know, so you got to imagine like how devastating that is to have all of this stuff going on, and you know, like, boy, I'm gonna go to Louisville, like it's on, right? And to find out that I'm not going and they're not coming, you know. But long story short, I found out that my high school coach had made me go to some school that his friend had was the coach, and it was like a D3 school, and ended up sending emails out to all the schools that I was committing to, right? As if I was like, hey, thank you for the offer, but I'm going to such and such, right? And like, I mean, it was a whole big ordeal, you know, in my hometown. My superintendent of my school, that's my dog, Tim Long, we still cool to this day, right? And he fired him. He made it like he couldn't coach no more. Like it was a whole bit. My granddad almost killed him. Like it was devastating, right? And so within all of that, I ended up finding my way to Tuskegee, right? So I ended up going to
That's
I ended up,
so messed up.
I ended up going to Tuskegee. So Tuskegee is probably the best decision that I've made in my life. I didn't know anything about it besides Miss Everest boys and Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver until I got there, right? But I ended up doing that. Like I said, I wanted to go into occupational therapy. I wanted to go into sports medicine. Occupational therapy was the closest thing they had, right? But what I didn't realize, I was an athlete, man. I wasn't in school to go to school. I was in school to play football, right? That was my whole thing. I'm in school to play football. And so I was a very, very amazing C student, right? I'm gonna get the
Top
job
of the
done.
line, see.
I'm a top of the line C student, right? But occupational therapy, a C is felon.
Well, I would hope so because I want to see person working on my body. But anyway,
Man, a C is felon. So I was ineligible to play football my first 2 years because I was getting C's, but it was like an F, you know. And so I was like, well, maybe this isn't for me. I want to play, so let me change to business. So I ended up changing my major to business, and that's kind of how my trajectory kind of started. I started realizing that, you know, when you look at everything from a church, that's a business, right? A school is a business. A hospital is a business. So I'm like, if everything that we deal with and everything we see is a business, I think I need to be in that space. You know what I mean? And so I kind of fell in love with the psychology and the skill set behind marketing, right? So I ended up getting my degree in sales and marketing. And then I got another degree in business administration. I was there for so long. It took me so long to get out, I might as well. Right? So I got to do.
y'all got here. Another 6 months.
I got a couple years, man. Let me go and add something else to the. I almost added supply chain management too, but I was ready to go by that time.
Yeah, it's time to go. Yeah.
It's time to go. And so I ended up doing that, man. I ended up changing my major. End up, playing ball. Had a great year. Played Kappa Alpha Psi. And just had the great college experience. I was the party guy. I threw all the parties at school. I created like events and dance competitions, and like every party that was going on, I had my hands in it. And I mean, I cut hair. I sold purses on the side. I had a dude that drove for Macy's that used to drop me off a box of purses like every other month. I would sell the purses and wallets. Like I was all around, just like that was my thing. Like if you needed something, I was gonna find a way to go get it for you, right? Because
you was lending. If you ain't got it, there ain't in it. I love it.
Yeah.
So entrepreneurship just been at what's up, Nikki? So literally all of this stuff is going on. You are super entrepreneur even before you even got out of college.
Oh yeah, of course. I was like this in elementary school. Like I was selling my crayons and Capri Suns, and I was doing all that stuff. Like if you want it, I'm not going to see. What happened was people would ask me for stuff and I would give it to them and I would never get it back. So I'm like, you know what? Next time you ask me for it, you're going to buy it from me because I'm not going to get it back nowhere. Right?
That's good logic right there.
I'm not going to get it. Let me just go and sell it to you because you obviously want it or you need it. So from there, it trickled on. I started in elementary school with my pens and crayons and pencils. And then it got to like, you know, that guy that carried a book bag in the front, right? That was me. I had the Airheads, Capri Suns, the tater chips, like all in the bag, like in the front. That was me. That was all me. And then it went from that to I got to college and I was cutting hair, and like I always was trying to find a way to make some money or to provide, because like I said, I was the father figure in my family. I told my mom early when I was like 12 or 13, Mom, don't worry about me. Worry about my little brothers. I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? I'll figure this thing out. You don't have to worry about me, right? I'm going to make sure I'm good. Just worry about my little brothers. I got this. And so from there, that's all my mind has been on. I had to find a way to provide. I had to find loopholes. I had to find a way to just kick the dough down, you know what I mean, and get myself in. And that's how I ran my life.
Let me ask you a question, and it's probably a personal question, but we all transparent anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Do you feel like as a young Black boy, you had to step in and be the father figure? And do you feel like that took away any part of your childhood? Because there's some cases where like, oh, as soon as you try and make the Black boy the father of the household, it takes away. Like, do you feel like that had any impact of who you are because your father wasn't there?
Yeah, I think it had a huge impact. And I think both questions are yes. I think that, I did have to step up, and it wasn't a forced thing. It wasn't like my mom made me do that, because my mom had boyfriends and, what I'm saying, had a husband, but it was more or less of like, that's my role I'm gonna take on. Like, mama, you don't have to worry no more. And I think that most men that grow up without their fathers, that's the first thing that they think about. It's like, Mom, I got you. Like, because I see what you're sacrificing. There's been plenty of times where I've seen my mom, like, we stayed in a hotel, where she was like, freak it, I can't pay it no more. Let's go get this extended stay. Me and my little brothers, we gonna be at the pool. We think it's cool, you know what I'm saying? But we at the pool and chilling. I'm coming out of school. She coming to pick me up. We going to the hotel. And I didn't know any different. I just knew that, we was at the hotel. But when I really think back on it, it's like, damn, mama just like, she figured out a way, right? It was times where the lights was off and she had a whole bunch of candles that we lit and told us that we was playing a game. Or if we, you know what I mean? Or we didn't have water, or we didn't have hot water or whatever. She'd put that junk on the stove. We didn't have heat. She'd turn the stove on because it was gas. Turn the stove on, leave it open. You know what I mean? You turn the stove on, leave it open, heat up the whole house. We all sleeping in the living room because that's the closest to the stove. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done been through all of that junk. And I think that all of that made me to who I am. So, like, I don't have a problem struggling. I'm okay to struggle. Like, I'm built like that. Like, it don't matter. I don't need a whole lot to survive, right? Like, most people, when they think about this quarantine and all this stuff, like, I don't need a whole lot. Like, I can eat the same thing every day and be straight, right? I can wear the same clothes off my back and be good, because it's not about the things that I consume. It's not about the things that I wear. It's not about the things that I have on or anything like that. It's who I am, right? So it's who I am. When I step in a room, it's going to shine. My light going to shine regardless. So I don't have to be front and center, and I don't have to be to have the best on or all of that stuff to let my light shine. My light gonna shine regardless. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm built the way that I'm built. And so I think that for me personally, that puts so much pressure on me. Like, I think I put it on myself. It was nobody else that put it on me but myself, right? Because I want to be the one to uproot my family tree. And that's the only thing that I have in my mind. Like, well, if you see my family, like, and I'm not even making this up, if you see my family outside of my mom and my little brothers, and like, if you see my real family, you would be like, hold on, boy, like, that'll look like the same stock. You know what I mean? Like, it literally, like, if you see my family, I wouldn't stand a chance. I have no chance in hell to stand, right? But that's my family, and that's what I come from. But my thing is, I want to be the one to uproot the tree, right? Let's get out of this unfertile ground. Let's get out of this BS ground. I'm gonna uproot the whole family tree, and I'm gonna put it on some better ground, right? So now what the fruit that we produce from this tree is gonna be a whole lot better. So, like, my whole thing is, I'm the first to go to college. I'm the oldest grandchild. I'm all of these things I'm the first of, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking like this. If I can set the bar so high, right? Set the bar so high that anybody in my family that comes after me, if they shoot to be anything like me and miss, right? If they don't get nowhere close to me, I set the bar so high that they'll be 10 times better than everybody else, right? So I push myself because I know I'm the living sacrifice, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, right? I'm the living sacrifice. Somebody got to start the trail. Somebody got to, when you look at bike trails and all that type of stuff, somebody started that, right? We didn't just go through the forest and see the trail that we walking down on Stone Mountain. They just got a whole trail. Somebody had to start that, right? And I'm okay with being that person. I can put that on my back. I'm good with that, right? Because I know at the end of the day, if I can start that, if I can uproot my family, if I can set the bar so high that I know that everybody coming behind me, right? I can't do nothing about from me in front. I can't change none of that, right? I can't change nothing that happened from me before me, right? But I can change everything that happened from me behind. You know what I mean? And so I take that to heart. I take that to my head. And that's the thing that sits on me so much is because I got my family tree on my shoulders, literally, right? And a lot of people can say it, talk it, do like it sound good, but what I'm talking about is I uprooted my family tree. Like I'm not finna sit here in this same dirt to keep producing this same fruit that's not bearing nothing. I'm finna uproot this junk. And that's what I've been doing my whole time is uproot this family tree and let's put this junk on some better ground. So now the fruit that we produce is gonna be worth something.
The pre boy, you ain't gonna have me emotional today. Well, what you ain't gonna do? We don't have time for me to be emotional. So with that, because when I look at your family now, you can see that mindset within your own family that you've created. You know what I'm saying? With your kids, with your wife. And we'll skip over some parts, but I do want to, while we're talking about family, I do want to talk about your family.
Right.
How did that impact that mindset of how I got to do this for the family that, that came before me and the ones that really are coming after you. You have to be able to show them, what these levels look like when it comes to your own marriage, because you met your boo all the way back then. She's been a part of this journey this whole time.
Right.
What's been some of the struggles that you had to make because of how you were raised and your mindset that you had then versus where you're trying to go? What were some of the things that you really had to push through as a husband, especially somebody that's coming from college all the way to where you are today?
Right. I think one of the main struggles was to kind of balance the different like lifestyles, right? So my wife comes from a completely different background. Well, she's been out of the country multiple times before she even left high school. You know what I mean? They took family vacations every year. It wasn't the same struggle, you know what I mean, that I had. And not saying that they didn't have their own issues or own struggles, but it just didn't look like mine, right? So my mindset was completely different. So I think one of the biggest challenges was to like get my wife to understand why my mom means so much to me, right? Or to understand like when I say like, hey, I'm gonna buy my mom a house, right? But we don't even have a house that we own yet. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, why? Well, like, what is like, why? You know what I mean? Type deal. Not saying that there's something wrong with it. It's just a different understanding. You know what I mean? And so I think that challenge in itself was like merging the two families that don't think alike at all, right? But taking some of the good stuff from this side, taking the good stuff from this side, looking at the bad stuff on both sides and analyzing it and see why it's bad. You know what I mean? So like, for instance, one of the things that I took my wife home one time and like we used to move a lot, and I never understood why. I thought it was normal, right? So I took my wife home one day and you take your wife to your hometown, you want to stun a little bit, like, hey baby, you know what I'm saying? It's the high school, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, hey babe, I used to live right here. We go half a mile. I used to live right here too. Right? This is my house when I was in high school. This is the other house that I was, you know what I'm saying? And so as I was doing this, I'm proud. Like, I'm super proud, right? But she like, damn, Keon, like, y'all used to move a lot, And I'm like, well, I mean,
Doesn't everybody move a lot?
Right? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, I thought that's what everybody did, But to realize that wasn't the norm, you know what I mean? That's just what I dealt with. That's one reason I don't like moving now. Like, you can't pay me to move. I'm going to buy somebody's going to come pack up everything. They're going to move the stuff. I'm going to sit on the couch until they're ready to move the couch. And I'm not touching anything. I'm not doing that. But that's the reason why, though. But I think that all of those things and all those challenges just kind of connecting the dots. But now my wife sees some of the great things that those struggles taught me as well, right? Like us being able to get into anywhere that we want to go, we can get in. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm used to, all I knew was how to get in the back door, right? I never got invited anywhere. I never was on the list. I just had to find a way to get in. Once I got in, it was on, but growing up, that's what it taught me. Like, hey, look, let's just get in here. Once we in, it's on, right? And so I took those traits to everything that I do now. That's how I get in everywhere. I just kick the door down or I come in the back door, and those were some of the good things that I got from my upbringing. Because I realized that, like, growing up, I've never seen my mom go to a dealership to buy a car, right? I never seen her. She always went to the buy here, pay here spots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where it was, you get the 10-year-old car, you pay $250 every week. You know what I'm saying? You end
What,
up paying,
380,000 weeks?
you know what I'm saying, for the car that's only worth 1,500, and you paying 600 a month on the junk. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because we never understood credit. We never understood money. We thought cash was king. That's all we knew, right? So we had the cash to pay it. That wasn't a problem. It was quick money. We can pay it cash, but we didn't realize how much we was losing. You know what I mean? And so I just adopted all of these bad traits that I had to reconfigure my mind and change the way that I think about stuff because of the way that I was brought up, right? Now I with my wife, get a brand new Jeep while she in college. And I'm scratching my head like, how did you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a 10-year-old Impala. You got a brand new Jeep that I got to pay my own note on. You know what I mean? And so it's like, just having those different balances and outlooks on life and all of those different things, just combining that stuff is just the biggest issue of just kind of changing like thought process. Because it's hard for me. Like for me, I don't even plan vacations, right? I don't know how. That's not even something that I did, but my wife grew up as her dad was planning all the trips. You know what I mean? So she mad at me because I don't plan nothing, but I'm like, I don't even know where to start. And when I think about a trip, I just think about money. Like, dang, that's gonna be like, shoot, at least 1,500, and we ain't even doing nothing. You know what I mean?
We can do that here.
Right. And so, just changing that mindset, just changing those thought process, just changing, all of those things, man, and just massaging those to where they can kind of come together and be on one accord and in one lane has been the biggest issue in that space.
So now you came out of college and you were like, look, I'm hustle man. Yeah, that's me.
Right.
How did you get to this place of smoothies? Because black man, party, have all the fun, Noop out here shimmying in these streets.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the world does smoothies fit in any of this?
So the backstory, I had so many struggles in my life, man. So mind you, the background of me being the first to go to college and all these different type of things, whatever. But I came out my senior year. I finally got everything together. I got like a 3.5, 3.3 or something like that GPA. Like, boy, you can't tell me nothing. I'm wearing my suit and ties. Of course, I'm a noob. I got my bow ties and suits on, and boy, you can't. I'm talking about, boy, you can't tell me nothing, boy. And so finally, I had a job opportunity at Regions Bank, right? So out of 1,500 applicants, they take 5 to be in an MA program. I don't even know if they still do this or not. But the MA program was you go 3 months of training and then you have your own bank, right? So out of 1,500 people, they picked 5. And I was one of the 5 they picked. It was like 6 rounds of interviews. I met the CEO, CFO. Like, I met everybody, right? I'm talking about I'm killing it. So now I'm thinking I'm that guy, right? I'm the first to go to college. Ain't nobody ever had a corporate job, you know what I'm saying, that I know of. I'm finna kill it. And it's gonna be at the bank, but I'm finna put everybody on. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm finna put everybody on. You know what I mean? And so I get the job, everything. We graduate in May, right? In Tuskegee, you only graduate one time a year. In the end of April, like April 29th or something crazy, I find out that I didn't take an English freshman course. And I'm not graduating. Not graduating. So I'm not graduating at all. I mean, I did everything I could. I tried to buy it. I tried to retake it. I tried every opportunity that I could. It was like, nah, a freshman English course. And they didn't offer it over the summer. And they didn't offer it in the fall. It was only in the spring because it was the second part of it. So I had to wait a whole year to take a freshman English course, one class. As I did everything in my power to go from, mind you, my first year at college, I had a 0.9 GPA. I went from a 0.9 GPA to a 3.3 at graduation, and I can't graduate. And I had a job waiting on me, right? So what ended up happening was, I couldn't do anything. I ended up losing the job, and so I had to stay around the area. I didn't know what I was doing. I still had my apartment. I stayed in the PJs. My rent was like $35, that type of deal. I was still hustling and whatnot. I was cutting hair. I was the manager at Foot Locker. So I was still doing all this stuff. You know what I mean? And so I ended up start selling cars. And so, I took a professional selling class. I was pretty good at it. I understood it. It was
I
fun.
see you sell cars.
Yeah.
I see you doing well at that.
Oh, I was nice. I was nice. I was nice. And so I ended up selling these cars. I was selling used cars. My first month there, I sold 11 cars. Second month, 16. Third month, 22. Like I'm talking about, I'm knocking them across the head, selling these cars, right? And I love it. It's fun. It's like, it's almost like being in sports again. You know what I mean? It was that type of like rush for me, and it was fun. I was making money. But then what ended up happening was I started to realize, like, you know, you get that itch, and I started realizing that money wasn't my money, right? At any moment they can tell me I gotta go and it's a wrap, right? And they had a couple job openings come up, like sales managers, and I'm like, oh, of course I got this, boy. I got 2 degrees. I'm coming out of college, but let me get that. You know, they give it to somebody else, right? One of our counterparts. And so I'm like, all right, maybe they had it coming up the pipeline. Maybe they already had that planned out, right? So that one didn't work out. So I'm like, all right, bet I'm gonna apply again, right? They just pull somebody else up. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, y'all don't see I'm out here killing this junk? Like, I know this junk, right? So then I started reading this book called The Alchemist. Dope book. The very first book in my life that I've ever read cover to cover, right? And I did it twice. The very first book that I've ever read cover to cover, right? I've been a bunch of books that I've started and put down or whatever the case may be, but that's the very first book that I read cover to cover. You know what I'm saying? And so from there, what ended up happening was I was reading that book and my mind got to wondering. My mind got to, like, it started to poke at me, right? So then what ended up happening was I was like, you know what? I'm going to open up a club. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to open up a club. I'm going to get me a club. I got the name for it. I still got the name for it, right? I'm going to still do it. It's called Lush, the life you should have, right? Everything was going to be exclusive. Everything was going to be nice. It was going to be paparazzi, red carpet. Like, it was going to be real nice, right? But the building cost $12,000 a month. I didn't have it. I was like, oh, shoot.
I'm out.
I got to press pause on that. So at the time, I was still chucking away, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So me and one of my homeboys, we was talking about like how much excess money we spend, right? Mind you, I'm making $12,000-$15,000 a month selling cars. I'm going to the club and I'm blowing it. I'm buying the bar out. I'm setting the bar out. I'm talking about I'm buying everybody drink on me, right? I felt like it was a marketing tool because I bought a bar out one day, I sell 5 cars the next day, right? So that was my whole thought process. But I was just blowing money fast, right? So he was like, bro, I was like, man, I spent $2,000 in the bar this month, bro. I'm tripping. He was like, bro, I got you beat. He said, I spent $2,000 in the gym. And I was like, what? Like, bro, you got personal training, bro. You play football with me. How you spend $2,000 in the gym? He was like, man, that's the dude that got a smoothie bar in there, right? He sells smoothies, wraps, salads, pre-workouts, this. At the time, my partner worked for Kraft. So he was like, bro, I ain't even got to make no food. I just get food from him and go home. He said, I spend $40, $50 with him every day. I'm like, dang. So it was a gym that I worked at. They had a little space, right? They wasn't really doing nothing with it. It was halfway done, but they had the space. So I'm like, all right, cool. That sounds like something I can do. So I ended up reaching out to him, and I'm like, all right, what I need to do to get it? And so they was like, honestly, we was trying to get rid of it. We didn't really know what we wanted to do with it. Light bulb went on. Boom, that's mine. Let me get that, right? So, and when I went back to work, I started coming up with an idea. So my whole thought process now is, like, I'm finna sell 1 car a day. Every single day of the month, I'm selling 1 car. And the rest of the day, I'm working on my plan. So it took, from that conversation I had, it took 2 months, right? I left my job. I opened up my spot at the joint, and I've been riding ever since. And so it took literally, yeah, it took.
So here's what's crazy about it, because you never know where money is hidden, right? People feel like, oh, it just has to be, I can only focus on my purpose and what makes me passionate. Like, sometimes it's also, what do people need? Like, what problem can you solve? It doesn't always have to be, you know, what God put on my heart to work. He may lead you on a certain direction, but it doesn't always have to be whatever you're most passionate about. Unfortunately, I cannot make money off of sleeping and taking naps on beaches. If I could, I'm gonna figure out a way. Get into this influencer marketing stuff. But it's not always like, you didn't grow up with there was a smoothie man on my corner. And I just look like, you didn't have that. You have the mindset of, okay, great. Nobody, these are things that people aren't thinking about. Black men not sitting around thinking about, you know what would be great? Opening a smoothie bar. So from you opening those doors, let's talk about what those numbers look like.
Oh man, it was crazy. So when I first started out, I was making I was in the gym and I was in there from like 8 to 9 every day. My smoothies was like $2 and $3. Like, they was cheap as ever. Like, I was tripping. You know what I'm saying? But
definitely not that now.
Oh no. Inflation. Yeah, gotta go up. Yeah, they got to go up. But I started there, and I thought I was doing something. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think about it. I'm making my own money off something that I created. People buying something that I wrote down on a napkin or in a notebook that people are really enjoying, right? So once I did that, I had the opportunity to go on Auburn University's campus, and that's when it got real, right? That's when it got real. So when I got on campus, my first year on campus, I think we was averaging about 3,500 a day, right? 5 days a week, and
We need a
six
calculator because I got
and,
one handy.
and six
So
days,
y'all that asked the math.
yeah, and 6 days if we had game days, right? And so the school, the contract I had, they get 30% of that, which is cool. I don't have to pay anything. They pay all the tax, all that stuff. And then they give me my rest on the back end. So I was doing about maybe on average, maybe about 18 to 20,000 a week selling smoothies, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Selling smoothies,
How much?
about 18 to 20 a week. Selling smoothies. And this is the cold part now. So the thing is that we was a part of their meal program. We was like, when you go to college and you had the little meal card, like we was on that meal card.
What?
Oh yeah, they use the meal card all day long. That's like Monopoly money to them.
It's not even real. They
It's
can't
not
wait
even,
for
no, they
that.
don't even see it.
They still paying for these student loans worth of smoothies to this day.
Right. But this is the thing though, Connie. It was food trucks that was there, but what I did was, and I'm gonna start posting up some of this old stuff so people can really get the gist of what I was doing. Like I wasn't just like most people would bring the food trucks on campus and they would sell a little bit and they would do their thing and then they would go home, right? For us, like I set up a whole 20 by 20 foot tent. I had the tables, the chairs, the cornhole. I had the light, like I set a whole vibe up on the corner on campus. I had the music playing. Like when kids would come out of class, I would have the music blasting. You know what I'm saying? They coming out of class, listen to Nicki Minaj and Nirvana and like all of these different things, and they wanted to just be there, right? Even if they didn't get a smoothie, they would just be there, and that was the spot, right? That was like going into the student center, but you was at the truck and meet me at Smoothie Group, meet me at the smoothie truck. You know what I mean? And so like you can kind of see on the back of my truck now, what I always did was I incorporated my customers. Those were my people, right? So my first food truck I let all the people sign my truck with a Sharpie. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, when you buy a smoothie, I'm gonna hand you a Sharpie. Go do your thing, right? And so that was attractive. One, nobody was doing that, right? Then when I got my second truck, I'm like, freak it, I'm gonna put everybody's picture on the truck. So I got everybody's picture, their tweets, their Instagrams, all that stuff all over my whole truck, to where now they feel like this they truck. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna shop nowhere else. They're not buying a smoothie nowhere else because I got their picture on my truck. You know what I mean? And so think about as a college student, and it was days on Tuesday. It was T-shirt Tuesdays. I had my own screen press machine. I would print up 100 shirts on like the weekend before. Just 100 shirts, I'll print them up and I'll take them to the truck. You come buy a smoothie, I'll give you a shirt on Tuesday. Just because you bought a smoothie. You know what I mean? Like all of these different things that I was doing to incorporate a customer experience. It was never about the smoothie. I don't even sell smoothies. You know what I'm saying? That's not even the lane or space
Tell
I'm
them
in.
what you sell,
I
Keon.
sell an experience. Smoothie King, Jamba Juice, those are not my competitors at all. Those are not the people. I don't even look at them. Those
Who's
are
your
not my
competitor?
competitors.
Who's your competitor, Keon?
My competitor is Disney World. Hands down, Disney World is my number one competitor.
Break it down.
Period. Disney World is the only person I've ever seen to make everybody feel like a kid again. Disney World has the best experience, period. Right? They spend millions of dollars a year on costumes. They spend millions of dollars a year on people portraying characters. Right? They put all of these things into the experience. Think about when you go to Disney World, you got the little bracelet and you scan. Or you can pay a little extra money and you ain't got to wait in no line. Like, this is all experience based. You're greeted by princesses and all the stuff that you see on TV. Right? That's the same thing. They're selling you an experience. It's absolutely. What are you buying at Disney World? Right? It's not the rides you're going on. You can go to Six Flags for that.
For $23.
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
Instead of spending $23,000 at Disney World.
Right. What are you going for? Nobody even understands it. You're not going to Disney World for a roller coaster. You're going for the experience. Period. And so that's what I'm trying to reproduce. Right? The other company that I compete with is Starbucks. Is the whole coffee industry as a whole. Not even just Starbucks. Because what I think about when it comes to coffee, people don't drink coffee because of how it tastes, right? That's why you putting sugar, cream, that's why you putting all this stuff in it to make it taste good. You drink coffee because of how it make you feel, right? It's the feeling that you buying. And you know how you feel when you don't drink your coffee in the morning and you don't like it, right? You groggy, you down, you tired. I got to get my coffee before I can do anything. It's like a drug, right? But coffee, if you can reproduce coffee in your business, it's game over because now you became you became a part of a person's routine.
Mm.
You're a part of their daily routine now, right? Now you done tapped into this feeling, right? Everything that we do is about an experience or feeling. Everything, every single thing we do is about an experience or a feeling. Period. Think about when people get dressed and put the makeup on and do their hair. I don't care what they say. It's about a feeling. When you do your hair, when you put on your makeup, when you put the matching clothes on and you look yourself in that mirror, that feeling you get is why you do it. That feeling you get that's the feeling. So if you can make your product a feeling product, you never go out of business. You absolutely never go. When people come to my truck, they know what they're going to get. They know they're going to get the experience. They know the feeling they're going to get when they leave. They know the environment. They know the vibe. They know the energy. They feel different when they leave. So they want to show up every single day. And that's what makes people successful. It's not, oh, I can sell anything. And the first thing I'm going to do is create an experience and a feeling behind it. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. Whatever I'm doing, there's going to always be an experience and there's going to always be a feeling attached to it. And that's what's going to keep you successful. It's not the product. And you can make a smoothie at home. There's only so many ingredients you can put in a smoothie, right? That's it. But it's about the experience and it's about the feeling you get when you get it. And that's what separates me from everybody else. It's not the product. The product is dope now, don't get me wrong.
Oh, no, it's definitely delicious.
Hey, I put some research and I put some time and effort
And
in making this product the best that I could possibly make it, right? And so the thing is that outside of the product itself, it's all about the experience and the feeling. And when you tap into that, it's game over.
So, one, just the logic behind it being an experience is a whole gem by itself. So I hope you guys are really grasping that. And then even, so for me, now a part of my routine, you're a part of my routine, even though I don't see you. I have a smoothie book. I have my Smoothie Groove recipe book where me and my daughters in the morning, because our smoothies were trash, by the way, before I talk about it. They were straight garbage before. I didn't know that they were so bad. But now you're a part of our day. Your book is sitting on our counter in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And when we wake up in the morning, instead of her having cereal or me having coffee, a part of our routine is now we make smoothie. I went and bought a whole new NutriBullet blender. Yeah, I stepped it up. But again, that goes to show you exactly what you're saying. You've created an experience, and now you're a part of our routine. And when we don't have our smoothies, we're like, we need to go to the store and get ingredients so we can make. So that part is so crazy because you never really think about it, and it's a subliminal thing. Now knowing that you're a part of my daily routine, and I haven't seen you in months.
Right, and that's the thing. But see, that's a positive and a negative thing as well, right? Because what happens is, and what I had to experience early on was, I do so much experience and I do so many things that people want my product, right? And they can't get it. But the fact that they can't get it, they'll settle for another company's product because they want a smoothie so bad, right? I done put a smoothie on their mind so much that they want a smoothie. So they just like, man, I'm going to just go over here. Even though it ain't the same, but I just want a smoothie that bad. Or even the fact that, let's say you want to make a smoothie at home. I'm sending you to the store to buy somebody else's ingredients, right? To come home and make a smoothie out of the book that I sent. You know what I'm saying? So this is where I've always put in my head, it's a game plan now. Now everything that goes around, everything that embodies a smoothie, right? I'm a be a part of that. You know what I mean? And so people think about this, right? And I got this method that I call the octopus method. You know what I'm saying? And what people think about is, when I think about the octopus, I think about the 8 arms, right? People always say it takes 7 to 8 streams of income to become a millionaire, right? So what I do is, it's like, all right, cool. I got my home base, which is Smooth and Groove, right? We're doing frozen fruit. That's one arm, right? We're doing cold pressed juices. That's another arm. We're doing our recipe book. That's another arm. We're doing blenders. That's another arm. We're doing hookah flavors. That's another arm. We're going into lipsticks and fingernail polish. That's another arm, right? But when you think about it, what the octopus do when it goes to get food? When it reaches out to get food, it brings it back home, right? Everything that you do in business, no matter how many different arms you have out, they need to come back to home base, right? They need whatever you go and grab needs to bring that back home so we can eat, right? But what that means is I can't be selling smoothies and selling cars, right? I can't be selling smoothies because it doesn't attach. There's no reason for that, right? There's no connection there. You know what I'm saying? There's absolutely no connection. But I can make a juice that's connected to Smooth and Groove that I can partner with Martell that I can create another leg off of because now everybody's drinking this juice in the club. So now instead of like when I look at the club, I'm like, all right, what do everybody do? Every time I walk in the club, they smoking hookah. What hookah flavors do they have? Nobody knows, right? Let me give you the Nene hookah flavor. Guess what I just did? I just rebranded the whole hookah game, right? I'm not in the hookah industry, but my smoothies are, right? So when you go to the club and you're like, oh, I want that, let me get that Nene. Hey, y'all got the Smooth and Groove hookah flavors? You see what I'm saying? But it still come back to home base. I'm not out of my lane. I'm still in my same lane, right? I just partnered with somebody that's in a different lane. And so it's the same thing with the fingernail polish and the lipsticks. Oh, we got Smooth and Groove colored lipstick. It's the same color as my smoothies, right? So I got the Nene yellow. I got the Ooh Kill 'em orange. Goes the same thing with the fingernail polish. I'm not in that space, but I can partner with somebody who is, right? And it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So everything that you do within your business, don't go out and try to go and be a part of everything because you think that industry makes money, right? Connect with it and make it make sense. If it makes sense, if that octopus arm can bring that back to home base and it makes sense, right? You can't go out and grab a rock and think the octopus is going to eat a rock. The arm not going to grab a rock because it's not going to eat a rock. You know what I'm saying? It has to find something that it can eat that makes sense. So most people just going out grabbing whatever they can grab, thinking that it's going to get full off of that. But you're not even consuming that. Your body, you're not even eating that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the thing that most people got to understand. Don't get out of your lane. Stay in your lane. Just partner with somebody that's doing something else in your same lane.
Me telling y'all, I hope y'all got pen and paper. So, you know, our time goes by so fast, but I want to make sure that we get to your KISS method. You ready to talk about that?
Oh, yeah, let's get it. Let's get it.
Run it then. Tell me about it.
So I got to sit up for this one. So KISS is something that it's been like on me for a long period of time. You know, I deal with a lot of people. I'm around a lot of great like entrepreneurs that help other people, right? And so I felt like I would be doing people a disfavor if I wasn't in a space to be able to help people, right? So I've took a lot of L's, and I made a lot of L's in my life. But I also won a lot, right? And so from these L's, I've been able to create a system, a process, a coaching, co-motivational program where it's called KISS, right? So one thing about me, and Connie can attest to this, is that everything that I do is super simple. Like, I don't believe in overcomplicating anything because you can't duplicate it that way, right? The only way that you can duplicate is if you simplify. You know what I'm saying? And so from there, what I've done is I created a program called the Keeping Individual Success Simple. So I'm taking people, different businesses, different opportunities, even at your workplace, right? I'm just taking what you do, what you're trying to do, and I simplify it. The biggest thing that we do is we reverse engineer everything, right? We reverse engineer everything and we find out what the gaps are and we find out how to close that gap, right? So the biggest thing that I look at is like, why don't people start what they want to start? Why don't people start these businesses that they have in their mind? Why are they not going for this jump, right? And so from there, what I found out was it was the gap, right? The gap between where you are right now to where you're trying to get to, right? And that space in between, you know, so that space is what keeps people from going, right? So if I told you, and I look at it from like a staircase, right? If I told you like we're on the bottom floor, we're on the ground level, and I say, look, let's get to the second floor, right? And there's no steps. Most people gonna say, no, I'm straight. I'm finna just go home, right? You got to select few to be like, oh, I'm gonna see if I can climb this wall, something I can stand on, you know, that type of deal, right? Most people won't even try. But if you had steps in front of you that say, hey, look, I need you to get to the second floor. There go the steps. All right, bet I'm going to start. Right? So what I do is, and how I look at it, is like, you remember the menu that we had at kids, the kid menus that you get, and they all have like the little puzzles and the maze that you can use your pen, and you got to go around and you can't lift your pen up, right? Everybody that I know starts from the beginning. I started the end, right? I reverse engineered. I started the end, and that's going to take me right to where I'm going. So think about this, right? Let's say you're in a corporate setting and you got an idea that you want to implement in this corporate setting, and you send that up the ladder to make a change, right? How hard is it to get something done going up? Very hard, right? What happens when your boss sends a memo or email down of a change? What happens? It happens immediately, right? Think about walking up steps. How hard is it to walk up steps, right? When you get to the top, you breathing hard and tired, like, ugh, right? But how easy is it to come back down those steps? You know what I'm saying? So I look at everything as like, look, just come down. Go to your ultimate goal, right? Whatever your ultimate goal is. And you say, all right, cool. What do I need to do to get here? All right, bet I got that. What do I need to do to get here? All right, bet I got that. What do I need to do to get here? Boom, I got that. And you do that all the way down to where you currently at, right? So when you come down and then you get to where you currently at and look back up, you got a roadmap of everything you need to do. You've just created your steps, right? You just created all your steps that you needed to do to get to the second floor, right? So it's just that simple. It's really simple, right? So let's take me for instance, right? One of my goals was to have 5 rental properties by the end of the year, right? So it's like, okay, what do I need to do to get 5 rental properties? I need to have money to be able to buy these rental properties, right? So who gives out money for these rental properties? The banks or the hard money lenders. I need to find people that gives out money. All right, boom. Those people give out money. What are their requirements to give out money, right? What do I need for them to give me some money? Boom, you need a credit score, you need this, you need down payment. All right, bet, I need that. Where am I at currently? Okay, boom. If I need to, I need to tighten up. I need to get my credit right. Who do I know that fixes credit? All right, boom, I need to reach out to them, right? How much money do they charge? So now what I've done, I've created a step-by-step plan of everything I need to do to acquire 5 properties. You see what I'm saying? So these are some of the things that I'm helping people do to within their own space. Like you don't have to, it doesn't matter what lane you in, because I don't believe in the theory part of business. I believe in the principle part of business. Everything is about a principle, right? That's why you can put Frank Lucas, I know Big Meat's about to get out, them boys about to do their thing. You can put them in any space possible, right? Any space possible, and they're going to win based off their principles. You know what I'm saying? Most people do things based off theory, hypotheticals, projections, all these type of none of that. You can't do anything like that, right? You can't move forward like that because you don't know. But if you got a principle, right, that you can move with, the way that you operate, what time you wake up, the way that you make decisions, right? When you create all these principles for yourself that you do within your business that makes sense, that helps you become successful, you can implement anything you want to implement into that principle, and you're going to win. That's why Jay-Z, Diddy, and all these boys that you see on TV got multiple things going on, because people know that they are successful in one thing based on their principles. All they do is insert another project. All they do is insert another product. Boom. Why do you think Jay-Z buying up all this stuff? He was successful selling cocaine. I'm going to do the same thing I did in the streets. I'm going to bring it to the corporate setting. Why do you think 50 killing the game? He's taking the same principles that he did in the streets, put it in the corporate. The corporate cats don't stand a chance. That's why he's so successful, because of the principles that he learned in the streets. It has absolutely nothing to do with your education, has absolutely nothing to do with the things you know. It's all about your principles. Once you get your principles intact, it's a wrap. You can do whatever you want to do then. And so that's what we teach in the kids program.
He ready to go off on you. I tried to tell y'all. We've been waiting to be able to snap. And I see you, Kai, with your notepad. So I hope y'all wrote all of this down. And I want to make sure that we have time for people to know how can they connect with you? Can they stay in touch with you? Where can they follow you? How can they make sure that you never leave their side? And also having these delicious, amazing, amazing smoothies.
Most definitely. So what I did, I've created different ways to connect. Of course, you can connect with me on social media, Smooth and Groove, just simple and plain across all platforms. My personal is the Keon Davis on all platforms. But how you can also stay linked in with the truck, you can text 31996, and the keyword is smooth SNG. I'm sorry, the keyword is SNG. Right? What
What is
happens
it,
is
Keon, so I can type it?
SNG. Text SNG to 31996.
31996.
996. Yep. You can tap in that way, and I send like discounts. I send where we at, what we doing, that type of deal. And to the same number for the KISS program, it's our KISS, and it's to the exact same number. So what we're doing is we're actually building this program out. I'm about to start a call we're going to do on Tuesday and Thursdays at 9 p.m., right? But it's a co-motivation call. And that co-motivation call is going to be everybody within this call. I feel like if we can get rid of that crab in the barrel mentality and we can help each other, right? Because I got so many plugs and connects that I have that I can't utilize because they don't do me no good, right? And so I want to connect with people that I can help. Just let me help. If you're doing something in a certain space and I got a plug, let me throw you a line, right? And I'm pretty sure there's so many other people that have the same thing that they just can't utilize. So I want to come together and I want us to co-motivate each other. It's not about one person standing above everybody else. It's about all of us standing together and all of us, planting our feet in the ground and all of us winning. You know what I mean? Because like people say, it's lonely at the top, and it's lonely because you ain't bring nobody up with you to win. You know what I mean? So that's the whole premise and concept of everything that I'm doing is I want us to win together. And what we're going to do on this call, everybody's going to be involved. So what happens is the basics of this call is that every day that we get on the call, somebody's business or life, you're going to be on main stage and everybody on the call is going to be focused on you, right? So you're going to have one-on-one with everybody. So think about having 10, 15, 20 business partners that's going to help you craft, create, design, they're going to throw you lobs, whatever the case may be, right? Whatever you need, all of these people are going to be there to help you move that needle forward, right? And the thing about that is now, you have to be involved when everybody else goes, because if you're not going to get a chance to go, right? It's not going to be fair that you come in only when it's time for people to help you, and then you're not there, to kind of help everybody else. And that's the thing that I think is going to be so important, because that's going to force people to get rid of that crab in the barrel mentality, and we're going to help each other out.
Come on, God. Keon, I don't have time for you today. I'm so tired of this. You need to come on here and set my call on fire and have everybody going crazy. Oh, what's up, Aaron? All right. So as you guys know, again, text SNG to 31996. You can also text IKISS if you want to get involved with the KISS program. IKISS to 31996. You can follow him as Smooth, the letter N, Groove, and also the Keon Davis. Keon, I love you. I love the family, everybody but the pets, because I'm allergic, but still love them anyway. I'm here again. This is Connie S. Falls, the S is for Systems. We've been on Business and BS Live. Today was for the BS that happens in entrepreneurship and also for business strategies. You can grab Keon's book. Go to the link in his bio, and he has every single thing that he has going on. You can find it in the I wish I would have grabbed it out the kitchen, but get his recipe book and get any of his books there on his page and get involved in the program. You can get my book. It's in the bio, Scrambled Eggs. If you're feeling confused and you need to get focused and organized in your business, you can grab mine. The link is in the bio. And again, bro, I love you. I got so much happiness just out of seeing the growth that you've had, and man, I'm just so proud of you, and I appreciate you.
I love you too, girl. I appreciate everything you're doing, man. I know they're gonna cut us off in a minute, but I definitely got to give you your flowers, man. You are doing your thing, and you're doing it in a way that shows an elegance and just it's almost like having a rose and a bulldog in the same person. You know what I mean?
I understand that. I'm definitely both of those. But before Cousin Soft, Keon, I love you. All you guys, make sure you follow. And it's been Connie S. Falls and Keon Davis with Business and BS Live. Love y'all.
Out.